A town or a city is often seen as something definite, built to last and live in for a long time. Kiruna, a city with 18,000 inhabitants in Lapland, northern Sweden, is challenging this notion. At first glance, it appears as an idyllic Scandinavian settlement, surrounded by picturesque mountains. But for the people living here, the picture is a bit different. For they know that the city will eventually collapse and be swallowed, because underneath their feet is the largest underground iron ore mine in the world. Kiruna is located 145 kilometers above the Arctic Circle on the eastern shore of Lake Luossa. It is 953 kilometers away from Sweden's capital of Stockholm, and the nearest major city is Murmansk in Russia, some 554 kilometers east. Even before the founding of Kiruna, back as far as the 17th century, it was no secret that the nearby mountains of Kirunavaara and Luossavaara had rich deposits of iron ore inside. But there wasn't much that anyone could do with this knowledge. The location was far too remote, and the Arctic climate far too difficult to maintain any kind of profitable mining operation. All this changed when in 1899 the iron ore line was extended to Kiruna. Today the line runs 473 kilometers from Narvik to Luleå, connecting the North Sea and the Baltic, and is the primary means by which Sweden extracts Europe's largest supply of iron ore. With means of transportation taken care of, the city began to grow and its population expanded as the whole region became a major iron ore supplier in Europe. During World War II, Nazi Germany's war effort became dependent on these supplies. Winston Churchill was particularly concerned about Swedish exports. From the beginning of the war, he tried to persuade his cabinet colleagues to send the fleet into the Baltic Sea to stop the Swedish iron from reaching Germany. Later, when the Baltic ports froze over, Germans began shipping from the port of Narvik, so the Royal Navy began placing mines in the North Sea. Attempts were made to blow up the rail bridge and the docks in the port of Narvik, resulting in much fighting. Many believe that the war could have concluded much earlier if Sweden was not as accommodating in supplying Germany with its iron ore. In 1948, Kiruna gained city rights and started to receive large amounts of money from the mine. Most buildings built before 1920s were demolished and replaced, and many of the current buildings were built thereafter, leading up to today, as Kiruna still hosts the world's largest and most modern underground iron ore mine. Its production has been the driving economic factor in northern Sweden for over a century and still is today. LKAB is the state-owned company responsible for this industry. The mine is the largest industrial investment in modern Sweden's history, permitting the extraction of 75,000 tons of iron ore a day, roughly equivalent to the volume of a 12-story building. Since mining began at the site in 1898, the mine has produced over 950 million tons of ore. Until 1999, the deepest level of the mine reached 775 meters. Afterwards, it was deepened, and by 2012, it reached into 1,300 meters, and has likely gone much deeper since. These mining tunnels incline under Kiruna, leaving it in a precarious position, sitting on top of rocks that are sooner or later going to crumble as its foundation is being removed. The city center will likely tumble inwards before the end of the century, and as the mine removes the equivalent of a 12-story building's worth of material from the ground each day, the city sinks at a rate of 2 inches each year. So what to do with a mine that's eating a city? The answer so far has been to keep the mine and move the city. In June 2010, the council decided that the town would be moved 3 kilometers eastwards. It started in 2014, and the plan describes a process that continues till the end of the century. The town is fortunate in that its incoming destruction is directly related to the highly profitable vein of iron ore it sits above. Therefore, according to Swedish law, the mine has to fund the relocation effort. Every building within this section, which includes shops, city hall, restaurants, cafes, a fire station, schools and homes, will either be destroyed or, if deemed to be of sufficient historical or cultural value, will be moved. As part of this, Kiruna's Grand Church, which sits on a hill overlooking the current city and was once voted the most beautiful building in Sweden, will be lifted off its foundations and taken to its new resting position. Kiruna isn't unique in that it has to move, but up to now it is considered the largest urban relocation project in the world. About 1 billion has been promised by LKAB to complete the move, expected to be finalized between 2035 and 2040. Those who own their homes can choose to have LKAB buy them out for 125% market value, or they can ask for a new house to be built for them. In this way, the residents of Kiruna are lucky. They have someone to pay the bills of the relocation. And while Kiruna might be the first major city that has to relocate because of human-induced environmental change, it certainly won't be the last. It's likely that many towns and cities may have to follow in Kiruna's footsteps, as climate change will be affecting billions of people this century through the rise of sea levels hailstorms, and other natural disasters, such as forest fires and high temperatures. Kiruna might become a sort of template for others to follow. An example of how to handle the relocation of an entire city is it is progressing rather smoothly, and the people overall accept the reality that the city has to be moved in order to secure their prosperity. But taking on a broader view, considering the environment, we should ask, is it really ethical to relocate thousands of people for the sake of further resource extraction, which in the long term is going to contribute significantly to further global warming? In the short term, the answer appears to be yes, since the Swedish and Norwegian regions enjoy high employment and income thanks to the mines. And by making sure that they keep running, they are securing that income. Until possibly, or rather inevitably, iron ore prices start falling. If that were to happen, then hindsight might make the entire project look like a bit of a blunder, especially if you consider other possibilities of what the region could do with the budget allocated for the move. Investing in industries like tourism, renewable energy, or transportation infrastructure could be a better bet, creating a more robust, diversified economy.
On the other hand, at least the city gets to be redesigned according to modern-day city planning principles and architecture. Now, if you want more videos on geography, history, with lots of maps, the way I usually do, then please subscribe and make sure to ring the bell button. Otherwise, you won't be notified of my next video, guaranteed. Now, guess where this is, and I will see you in the next video. GeoPerspective out.
That's all.
That's all.